Good morning, everyone. Namaste. Nice to see you. Abhilasha, you look like you're becoming enlightened all of a sudden. It's nice effect. I like it. Okay, let's sit together then a little bit. Maybe we share afterwards, yeah? Find a comfortable position for yourself. Make sure you're comfortable. And if you can, with the straight back. Straight but relaxed, yeah? So check your body from inside. See if you're forcing a position, if you're holding something, or if it's all relaxed from inside. Just taking this time for yourself. Let's allow all thoughts, all movement to slow down. As we are taking a pause from everything, so that we can just be with ourselves for a little while, so that we can just sit in our own presence. In the simplicity of that presence. As we relax, we can start perceiving more the weight of the body. And we allow that. We allow Earth to pull our body towards itself, like a mother would pull a little child, a little baby, in her arms. We let ourselves fall into the earth, energetically connect to the mother. Make sure you're relaxing your belly as well, and your diaphragm. And connecting that belly center also with earth energy. As you relax. Notice if you're breathing from your belly. Where is the breathing happening mostly? And if it's a little higher up, see if you can allow it to relax more, move more towards the belly. Much like when you sleep. When our breath reaches the belly, we are immediately feeling more relaxed. And the mind becomes quiet. And now we also bring attention to the top of the head. The top of the mountain that we're becoming as we sit grounded. We perceive on the top of the head very, very light pull upwards from the sky. The opposite polarities to earth, it's sky energy, sustaining us from above, pulling us upward, helping our back to be straight. And we bring our attention to this line that connects earth and sky through our body. See if you can perceive this vertical line that connects earth and sky through the axis, through the center of your body. As if it's a pillar, a column of this energy, a bridge between these two forces. See if you can move deeper into this vertical line within your body. Notice how, as you move into this line, you start feeling more present. because this vertical line represents the present moment. This verticality is beyond time. And this vertical energy, there is no past, no future. It's the present moment, embodied through you in that verticality. Let yourself be that verticality. As you rest in that vertical dimension, you notice the mind becomes very quiet and the sense of presence becomes stronger. In that verticality, you can rest, also in stillness. Letting go of everything, because nothing is needed except this. This sense of presence, your presence. Which is nothing but the presence of life life force itself. Because you're not separate from it. Continuing to tune into that channel through which earth energy and sky energy are flowing through you, through your body. And the more empty you allow yourself to be, the more everything is flowing through, as if you are an empty bamboo standing upright, straight, and empty. So that the life force can flow through you freely. Allow yourself to be that emptiness. And let the sound bring you back to that, to the verticality of the present moment. When you're ready, let your eyes open again. Slowly coming back to the group. So let's open the space a little bit if anybody wants to share something about this meditation or your daily practice or your life, anything you'd like to share or ask. Yeah, Mickey.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Shastro. It felt very short today. I thought we were only sitting for a few minutes.
No, it feels like that sometimes.
Yeah, it was really very nice. Thank you. I want to share something about my sitting, my morning meditation.
Mhm.
I think a few times you mentioned this book, Stillness Speaks,
Yes.
by Eckhart Tolle. And I bought it when you mentioned it the first time. And what I do now, just before my meditation, it's just short snippets of
Mhm.
wisdom, and I just read like a sentence or a paragraph, and I find it's a good reminder because when life gets busy, mine is not very busy at the moment. I make sure that it isn't, but still, something happens or someone talks to you, and it kind of takes you out of your sacred space. And
Yes.
so, how I find this helps my day. When I read this, it puts me in a certain ambiance or a certain awareness
Yeah.
for the day. This and also the other book I already showed you. It's the Tao Te Ching,
Tao
and
Te Ching. Yeah.
yeah, and that I find it's sometimes it's like a few lines, sometimes it's a whole page, but it's very little. And that is interesting because sometimes I feel after reading one sentence, that's enough.
Yes.
And it's strange. It's like you don't understand anything, but you understand everything. it's that really helps me.
Yes.
And then with my sitting, I don't know how it happened, but it was quite spontaneous. Um, I started to take more time. I meditate with Insight Timer with a bell. So I set two bells, intermittent bells, and then the final bell.
Mhm.
And
Oh, you're substituting me.
yes, I'm substituting you. Yeah. Um, but anyway, I take more time to settle um, than before, and it just happened that one day I felt I need more time if I want to
Yeah.
move a little bit more to be comfortable,
Yeah.
and then I take myself through the process that you do at the beginning of the meditation, but slowly, not like and then I sit. It's like slowly I take my time, and it's so nice.
Yeah.
and and then one day I was aware of like a bright golden light above my head, um, and at the beginning of the sitting, and I felt that I should allow this light to penetrate my body from above.
Mhm.
And I felt like it was nourishing every cell in my body,
Mm.
um, healing. my intestines, healing all the organs. Wow, it was just so good. And now I'm doing that. I'm even if I don't feel the light spontaneously before I go through the process of being aware of earth energy, sky energy. I allow this light to go through my body. It's very healing,
Mm-hmm.
and it also helps to relax my whole body. And yes, and then it, then I start the process of grounding and the rest. And also, what's happening at one point is the connecting to the stillness within. It's really still. When I became aware of that, I don't know. It's a nothingness. And luckily, you told us that sometimes you can get a little bit scared when it's so deep and so nothing, so empty. Um, but even the first time I felt this really, really emptiness, I couldn't even I couldn't find the thought or the I don't know. I couldn't come back. I just had to stay there. It's like my mind stopped completely.
Yes.
My body was gone, and now
And what was left?
nothing. There wasn't even a feeling of love or light. Nothing. It was just I don't know how to describe it because there was nothing.
But you were still there. Or something was still there because you
Something
remember it.
was still there. I think I was aware of my breathing.
You were aware that there was nothing,
Yeah.
right?
Yes. Yeah.
So
So
the witness is still
witness is
there.
still there. Yes. Yeah.
Mm.
And it's not since that first time. It's not every time like that. It happens that sometimes thoughts come. Or I should say, less thoughts. Yesterday it happened that I'm working on a creative project, and at one point there was a solution arriving in my head, but for
Mm-hmm.
a short period, and then I was back in that space.
Yeah.
Yeah, and how it
As a matter of fact, if I can interrupt you for a second, this is important. The use of the mind in a creative way. It's a beautiful thing to understand that when we have to use the mind, let's say we need to solve a problem, or we need to consider how to do something, or something practical also, no? If we allow ourselves to be empty first, no? Like in meditation, we sit as if we're sitting in meditation. But with that presence towards that topic, that issue that we want to solve or we want to consider, and then let the thought arise out of emptiness. So it's a beautiful thing. You allow yourself to alternate between silent stillness and thoughts regarding that particular issue. That's the most creative way to use your mind to solve something or to come to a conclusion about something that maybe you're not clear yet. So allow that thought to arise out of emptiness. It's a very good way to use the mind when you need to for a certain particular issue. Yeah, so that's very good.
Sorry, I talk a lot today. I just want to say something how all of this impacts on my life. I'm in a situation where I've never had so little money,
Mhm.
and I've never felt so free.
Mhm.
Um, it's amazing. I realize how little I truly need, um, and I'm in a beautiful period. Also, I stopped thinking about my life. I think about life.
Mhm.
Yeah. So so I enjoy every moment. The good ones, the bad ones, all the moments. Yeah. Just
Beautiful.
that's
I'm
all.
happy for you. I'm happy for you, Mickey. Beautiful. And those, yeah, the way to use that stillness speaks. It's a very good way because it's really divided in, by the way, if you guys don't know that book, it's worth having it. It's really divided in sentences almost, huh? Little, um, yeah. And then he puts this little wave that means stillness or pause or read something, and then that's it. You don't need to read the full page or the whole chapter. So it's a very beautiful way to get inspiration. Much like sometime I pick up a Rumi book, a book of poetry, and you pick one poetry and you read it, and then it's enough because you read it through your heart, not through your mind. And it just enriches you and it just puts you in this beautiful space. And you say, oh, wow, that's enough. Close it, close it. Don't read more. When you feel that sense that it filled your heart, close the book because it has done all that it could do, and then tune into that. So that's a good way to read a book like that, or the Tao Te Ching, or a book of Rumi poetries, or a feast, or anything else that's inspiring for you, So you don't engage the analytical mind as much, but you stay with the feeling and tuning into your heart. Beautiful. Thank you, Mickey, for sharing. Abhilasha.
Yeah, it was a beautiful meditation. This,
Yeah?
yeah,
Is it good for you?
yeah. And I'm also painting, and I painted already in the ashram, also in Pune.
Mm-hmm.
Then I started with Mira, and it was with trees, also this verticality.
Yeah.
And then for the first time was really like roots and sky and go for it. She always said. And so, what are you doing? And then I made small plants or small flowers. Where's the watcher? And we'll go there.
Where is what?
Where's the watcher? The watcher.
The watcher.
The watcher. And then this big tree came, these standing there. And that was the first time. But now I really made I had this weekend a painting group with a group of people.
Mm-hmm.
And I was painting, and then I was painting empty space. Like the tree is a no form, so it's the empty space, and then so that's nice.
Beautiful.
From the roots to the sky, and now I have no problem anymore to do it. But before I didn't. I always did the small plants and
Mm-hmm.
and this. Now all the trees stand together. Like,
Yes.
no, it's very good. And I wanted to say that before, when we didn't meet so often, when you were ill, then I started to look for this other videos on your on YouTube.
Yeah, the past videos. Yeah.
Yes, and I was listening, and I was doing this guided meditation. It really helped also to sit longer, because I sit, but I didn't sit so long. And also this guided, I felt really supported by that. And then I saw after, when we were talking, I thought I never heard this before. I never. And then I was talking after that. It's so strange that I don't remember anything of the meditations. That's what I mean. And also the talk, but still it goes in.
Yeah.
But then I said, oh, but I was there.
No. But that's a beautiful tool to have, those videos.
Very
so
nice.
Even for all of you during the week, if you feel like, I like to meditate, but I need a little extra support or extra input, go pick one video and you don't need to listen to me talking necessarily, just do the meditation, because they're all a little different. Every guided meditation came out slightly different. And lately they're becoming even more different. So it's a beautiful thing. You can just use it as a tool to support you. That's why they're there.
So thank you for that also.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. And it was good to tune into that verticality. I think it's a very good anchor. Because we talked about this. Time moves in a horizontal line always. There's always past is here, future is here, and we always go from one to the other. In the middle there is present, but we hardly stop there. We're always like a pendulum. And so when we really stop, when we take this pause, it's like the pendulum stops and right in the middle. And then the vertical line is there. That verticality is that presence, that present moment. And it does not belong to time because it's vertical, it's not horizontal. In that verticality, everything happens. Nothing happens on the horizontal line, really, except your mind. So whatever you experience, usually it's part of that verticality. And much like a tree or every plant or anything that grows, any inner growth happens in that vertical line, not on the horizontal line. On the horizontal line, nothing happens except a movie, a virtual reality in our head. You see, this is very important to understand because we can spend the whole life moving on that horizontal line, thinking that something is happening and we're doing this, we're achieving that. Nothing is happening. We're not achieving anything except developing our conceptual mind and moving with that, within that, which give us the impression that a lot is happening. But bringing it to a relative dimension of, well, when you're ready to leave your body, you look at what has really happened, you realize, shit, nothing has happened. In that sense, it was all a movie. It was not a movie. It's all like something that will just disappear like a dream one day. Like a soap bubble will go like smoke. That's the horizontal line of time. And mind and time are very much the same thing. Or let's say time is a concept that was created by the mind. And it's also what supports and continues to feed the mind, the concept of time. So we're always thinking, imagining something about the future, either in a few minutes, in a few hours, or a few years, doesn't matter, but away from the verticality of the present, or something we remember, memories. The more you look, the more you realize, my God, there are so memories stored in there. It's really like a biocomputer. There's a lot of information. And then, as a matter of fact, as I already told you, the future is an extension of the past, because even what we imagined is related to what we already experienced. We cannot imagine something that we have not experienced, right? If I want to remember a tree, or imagine a tree, I have to remember, I have to have an image in my mind of a tree. And the mind says, this is a tree, right? So there's a memory, a word attached to a visual image. Then I can think of a tree in the future, but I couldn't if there was no memory. So the future is nothing but an outcome of the past. So what we do is really always living in the past, because even the future that we imagine, it's just a repetition in some form of others of our past, or what we already experienced. We cannot imagine what we haven't experienced yet. So we filter all our perception always through the mind, and that contains past experiences that decode everything we experience according to what has already been encoded in the past memories. So again, if I'm standing in front of a big oak tree, which is majestic and beautiful, and I look at it and I let my mind filter that experience, the mind will say, oh, what a beautiful tree. Oh, it's green, or it's not green, it lost the leaves, or because it's autumn, or oh, how green it is in the summer. Or it will say, oh, it's an oak tree, we'll recognize it. So it will give you a kind of conceptual perception of that being, right? Now, if I'm allowing myself to just be there in front of this being, and not even allow the mind to come in with the word tree, which is not easy, then I will have a direct experience of that being that we call tree. And there will be an energetic connection between me and this other vertical being that we call tree. But I will perceive something completely different. I would be able to actually perceive, what is this tree in that moment? So that is one of our problems, is that whatever we perceive is filtered through our past memories, through our mind. So we keep perceiving always the same thing. Nothing is changing, you see, it's fixed. A tree will always be a tree until you don't even look at it anymore, because you go like, oh yeah, it's a tree. Right? So we miss the magic of each moment because we live through our memory. You know, when they say, when you live with a partner for many years, the most difficult thing is to see that person as a new person every day. And not looking at him as like, oh yeah, it's just you. You know, God, I've seen you for 10 years. I don't need to look at you again. Right? You're living through your mind in that relation at that point. So how to remain new every moment, fresh, how to experience life, how to experience people, how to experience any tree, any leaf on a tree, any blade of grass as new. It's possible. And that's what takes you into the magic of life, into the amazing. You just stand in awe then, because everything is wonderful and wondrous. If you don't allow your mind to tell you this is what it is. So, living life from a spontaneous, fresh point of view. When we are present, we are not in our mind. Yeah, that's what presence means. We are that awareness that is present, that is perceiving everything without letting the mind interfere. So living a life with presence also means living life on that vertical dimension. And that's why it's a good anchor to perceive this verticality through the body. Why? Because it brings you back to that sense of presence. Here, now, you start moving through the vertical dimension and you release the horizontal one, because, as we said, nothing happens there except smoke and dreams, or Maya, as they call it in the East. I think we should add this anchor to our anchors in the vertical, or maybe it's a sub it's a sub anchor. It should be part of the first anchor, because the first anchor is about grounding and energy of sky and earth. So the result of that is perception of a verticality. So yeah, it's a good part of that first anchor. Sometimes I just tune into that very quickly, and it's enough to take me to the present, like, whoa, there's like this pillar of energy and a sense of presence, and the mind just becomes very quiet. So it's a very good anchor to use also. And coming back to what we were saying with Mickey, that also when we read a poetry or we read a little part of that book, and it enriches you. It enriches you because you're not reading through your mind. And you could read the same thing and every time have a different experience if you're not reading through your mind. Like Abhilasha was saying, well, wait a second, I was there, but I don't remember this in this way, or it seems new. Or if you're reading through the mind or experience through the mind would say, oh yeah, you know this is that, boom, finished. You can read the same poetry a month later and you have a different experience because you don't read through your memory. You read through your heart. I have been listening to my master talks for like 40 years. And I'm re-listening to a series that I heard for the 4th time now. In the last few years, not like a long time ago. I finished it because it's a long series, like, I don't know, I think 100 talks or something like that. Yoga, the Alpha and the Omega. And I fill up my bathtub with bubbles and hot water and Epsom salt. I go in there, I put Osho on, and I put this series on. I just soak in there listening. And every time I go like, what? I never heard this before. This is new. No, it's not new. Well, yes, but not, because you heard it 4 times already. But every time I hear something different. And he used to tell me, yeah, every time you listen to me, according to where you are at, according to how present you are, according to where your life is at, according to your level of understanding of that moment, you will hear something different. So there are many layers, no? So every time I hear a different layer, and yet it's the same words. Amazing, no? So that's also, we are an unfolding, ever-changing phenomenon. Consciousness is. So we're never the same. So our experience of the same thing cannot be the same because we're different. You know? I don't know if it was Heraclitus or somebody that said you cannot step into the same river twice. Because the river is always flowing, and also because you're not the same. So to remember this, it's also a good way to allow memories not to interfere with what we experience. We experience everything as if for the first time. Then we're fully alive. Then life becomes a vibrant experience. Every moment becomes a vibrant new experience, worth living it. Something to explore and to be surprised by it. Every moment becomes magic. Now that's a life worth living. A life full of magic. Where we are able to remain on that space that I don't know. I don't know anything. Let me just be here now and see what is happening. What is my experience? What is my perception? Without any preconceived ideas, no? About this moment or about anything. Yeah. How's the training going, Tanya? You still doing it?
Hi, everyone. Yeah,
No.
still doing it. Finishing it in May, and
Nice.
yeah, starting to giving my first classes, and yeah, enjoy it. Yeah,
Exciting.
Yeah, but in a way, it feels like I've always done it. And this is where I should be. And last weekend, when I couldn't be here, we had hands-on practice to give, at first to correct the asana, but for me, it was like I was there for 1 hour and we had like an 8-hour training. And after 1 hour, I went to my teacher and said, I have to go home. I just want to go home. I feel so empty. And she said, yeah, that's because you give your energy to all of those people. And that was quite intense experience, and really liked it. Because I'm not so much your knee has to be over your ankle type. I'm more of feel it.
Intuitive type.
Yeah. I mean, it has to be correct, but all the energy is what I'm concerned with.
Yeah. Beautiful. But then it happens that you feel like, okay, I have nothing else to give. I'm like empty and I don't want to relate. I don't want to do anything. I'm just empty.
Yeah, after 1 hour.
Yeah. So that's good to honor that, and protect yourself and give that to yourself. Yeah.
And we did that. I wrote you after we had the dynamic meditation. So I think that was part of it too, because it was 1 day later, but still a lot of things came up, and it does something with you.
Oh yeah. It moves a lot.
Yeah, it was great. They told us to do it for 2 weeks every morning. So I tried to do that.
Beautiful. Yeah. Yeah, right. And I wrote to you, be total in it, right?
Yeah.
Because it makes a big difference. Don't go in lukewarm, just go in.
Yeah, and I read it afterwards because it was short before it started, and we had such a great group energy because everybody went into it with totality.
Nice. and then you are in a madhouse for a little while.
Yeah.
It's really wild. The energy just gets really wild. Yeah, it's fantastic. And moves a lot. It's a beautiful way to cleansing and to emptying and to see things that sometimes you have glimpses into the subconscious that is like, wow, look at that. I've never seen it before.
Yeah. And besides that, I observe a great stillness in my life coming from our practice, and that's what I really enjoy. I see that distancing or separating myself from my mind and from my emotions brings a lot of peace and calm.
Yeah. Yes.
That's what I really like. Sometimes I think, oh, wait, I should feel joy. And I do, but not as I felt it before. You know what I want to say? I really feel it on the inside and not on the outside.
Yeah, it's not joy because of something. It's just joy.
Yeah.
It's just joy because it's part of your being. Yeah.
And I wanted to say something to Mickey, because remember in the beginning when I was talking about my job stuff and all was going on, you said, don't worry, Tanya, existence will take care of you. And this sentence resonated in my mind because we had to go to court. I was there last week and it was so exciting on the outside, but I didn't care. And I always remembered your words. And I said, yeah, I will go there. I'll see what happens and existence will take care of me. And it was such a great experience because all my friends were saying, oh, what are you going to do? And when they do this, what are you doing this? And I said, oh, I don't mind. Existence will take care of me. And that felt so great. So thanks a lot, Mickey, for giving me that advice.
Beautiful. Yeah. It's like existence talking to itself. You know, sometimes when we talk to somebody and then maybe they say one sentence and it just goes in and it stays so deep inside of you. It's almost like it's existence talking through somebody else. to you, but bottom line is existence talking to itself, because we're not separate. We're all part of the same existence. So it's a beautiful thing. We act as mirrors for each other, no? Reflecting something, some inner truth that maybe you can't catch in that moment. Then somebody reflects it to you and it goes straight in and it just lights up the space inside, because it was already there, that thing, but it just needed to be lit for that moment, no? It's a beautiful thing. Yeah, Mickey.
Yes, it's amazing. Often when I need something, lo and behold, in the session, you start talking about it.
Yeah, right. That happens too.
And then you ask, does anybody have something to say? And I have nothing to say because you said what I wanted to ask
Already answered.
before I asked it.
I know.
Yeah, so it's amazing.
You know how many times that happened to me with Osho, because I was like thinking about a question to ask him, for 2 or 3 days. Oh, I should ask this and that. And then I was sitting there while he was talking, meditating, spacing out a little bit. And then suddenly it's almost like I wake up while he's saying this sentence that is actually answering my question that I haven't asked yet. And I'm like, what? It's like, wait a second. That was my question. Answered.
Yeah, sometimes I feel, oh no, you already answered it. I didn't even have a chance. The other day I listened to the very first one, the ABC of meditation. That was, it revealed so many things that I needed to hear as well. It's a great talk that you really in lots of insights and
I know. I somebody told me the other day, oh, Shastro, I just heard this beautiful, you were not speaking that day, and I went back to some old session and I listened to this beautiful one, and she told me which one. So I was like, oh, let me see, which one is that? And I went, and it was from last summer, I think. What is consciousness?
yes.
And I started listening to it, and I was like, oh my God, so much information. And it's like, I said that? Really? I could not say it now. So it's a very mysterious thing, It's like, much like the same feeling I have when I listen to my music that I made years ago. I listen to it and I'm in awe, because I go like, what? I did that? How did I do it? I could never do it again. And so it's a beautiful thing in a way, because it's almost like the ego cannot really feed on that, because I cannot repeat it. This I. But something happened in that moment that it came through that way. So then my mind plays with the idea to transcribe all the video sessions, which is a huge job.
I started to do that.
What?
I wanted to do that because I want it in written form, that I can take it with me. Yeah, but it's a big job.
It's a big job, but there are programs that you can do it. For example, most Mac computer have a built-in app that, for example, you can speak to a computer and he writes, no? Yeah. Like a dictation. So I was thinking, and there are also apps for that, but I can simply use 2 computers and have one playing the video and the other one listening and write. I haven't tried it yet, but I'm sure it's possible. So that's a big project that is waiting somewhere, maybe in the future.
So will you publish a book then?
Yeah, and then we have English and Italian, and some. It was like, okay, what language is gonna be? I don't know yet. because there are some beautiful sessions in Italian, there are some beautiful sessions in English. So I should actually transcribe all of them,
Yes.
and then pick the best part from both in one language, of course. So turn the Italian into English or the English into Italian. So it's a big job. I'm not ready for it, but
I've been feeling I need a book that I can carry around with me.
okay, but let me know if you start transcribing some of the English one, because then I don't do those sessions because you already have them. So we put our material together at a certain point.
I will let you know.
Okay.
But thank you, Shastro. Oh, it's amazing. You giving us a gift, an enormous gift. It's when I look back at where we started, how I felt, what was happening, how it was in my mind, and now there's no comparison.
Mm. Yeah. Well, I'm just passing on what has been given to me, really. Somebody the other day read one of my posts on Facebook, and she was like, oh, that you wrote that. Until the end, I thought it was Osho speaking, that you wrote something that Osho said, but then I saw you sign your name. And I told her, well, to tell you the truth, I don't know who is talking. I said, who is writing? Because I don't know, I think 90% of what I said, somehow I have absorbed it at a certain point through my being, from him. So I said, I definitely stand on his shoulders. And I don't know where I start and he ends, or vice versa. Sometimes it's just like, I don't know. And maybe it's not even 90%, maybe it's 100%, because Osho said everything. I mean, there are 560 books transcribed, which are audio transcribed into books. And every time I pick a different book, it's like I find something else and I go like, oh my God, he said that too. And it's almost like he said everything. So I wouldn't be surprised if 100% of what I said, he already said it. Maybe with different words, but it's already been said. So, and how much of what Osho said, or Buddha had already said it, or Jesus, or some of the masters, other masters. I mean, the truth is one at the end of the day. So you just find different way to say the same thing, but at the end of the day, we're just recycling. Everybody's recycling what somebody else has already said.
But it's channeled through you for us to hear this group.
Right. Yeah.
That's the reason why we're with you. That's how I felt with my teacher Basho as well. And at the time, he always spoke about Osho, and for some reason I wanted to listen to Basho, and I did take the trouble to go search, for Osho's books. Basho
Right.
gave me some recordings, but I didn't want to. I wanted to listen to Basho.
Yeah.
I feel the same. I have some of Osho's books, and I do read it, but this comes from you. It's. I don't know. I can't explain what I want to say, but now I feel, if I could say it in this way, you are my spiritual teacher, and that's just the way it is.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a matter of colors and flavors, no? Because passing through each of us acquires a different flavor, a different color, because we're all different. We're all unique. So you might have a melody written down, but the way you're going to play on your instrument and the way I'm going to play on my instrument is going to be very different. It's going to transmit something completely different, no? But the same music, if you write it down, it's identical. But the way it's performed and expressed, it's very different because you are different. And you have a certain instrument. I am different. I have a different instrument. So it's going to be very different music eventually. So it's a little bit like that. Then we resonate
Yes.
with certain flavor and less with others. So we go where we resonate. It's natural, no? Yeah. And then there are days like today, it's like I have nothing to say, and I think I've spoke already for an hour now. Enough. It's one of those days, like I have nothing to say today. Okay. All right, I'll let you guys go. But it's always really, really nice to be with you. So I'll see you next Friday. Unmute yourself for a moment. Kisses and hugs. See you next Friday. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Ciao.
Ciao.